We're back here in St. Louis. Moments before kickoff, the Seahawks and the Rams. Ron Pitts, John Lynch. And now the third member of our crew. Let's go down to the sidelines, Nichelle Turner. Nichelle.
Hey, fellas. Well, you guys were talking about Steven Jackson's back spasms. Not a new issue for him, but they did flare back up this week. And what he said he needed to do, get out here this morning, get loose, work out, and see how he felt. He did come out here. He did work out this morning, and apparently that back does feel good enough to go. Now, for the Seahawks, on the other hand, not so good. Their running back, Julius Jones, will be out. He suffered a lung contusion 2 weeks ago, and Coach Morris said while that lung has healed, Julius was having a lot of pain in his chest. He came out here, worked out, didn't feel good enough to go, so expect to see Justin Forsett today. Back to you.
All right, the second straight start for Forsett as Josh Brown gets us going. This will be Louis Rankin. Rankin with a lane, busts out across the 25, gets hemmed up, goes backwards. They're in the midst of a brutal three-game road trip, which is actually the last game of the three-game road trip. They've lost the last two. Pressure, first play of the game, and a sack on Hasselbeck. And a guy we previewed in the Yellow Book moments, James Laurinaitis.
James Laurinaitis has been fantastic all year long. He's played the run well. He's played the pass extremely well. One thing we haven't seen a lot of him doing is blitzing. But right here, he blitzes through that center guard gap, and gets after Matt Hasselbeck. We said it was imperative for the Seahawks to protect Matt Hasselbeck right away. They don't do a good job of doing so.
Carlson in motion. They'll go to the run game. That's Forsett. And Forsett chopped down quickly. Clifton Ryan, the defensive tackle. Matt Hasselbeck, he's won his last 7 starts versus the Rams. Tack on a 91.6 passer rating to go along with that. In fact, the Seahawks, they've beaten the Rams 9 straight.
Hasselbeck finally says he's feeling healthy. He broke the ribs early in the year against San Francisco. He said that affected him for a long time. He said it only affected me when I threw to my left. Well, if you're a quarterback, that's pretty significant.
3rd and long. Steps up, dumps it short, incomplete. Intended for Forsett. Forsett couldn't hold on, and they'll have to punt it away. And that will bring on John Ryan. Ryan sporting a 47.3 average. He's got a long of 70. Danny Amendola is back deep to receive the punt. Amendola with a pretty good average. Brought in earlier in the year from Philadelphia, signed up the practice squad. Amendola looking for room to run. Finds a wall, hit hard at the 25-yard line. Bowler making his 3rd start this season. He started weeks 4 and 5. That's a 7th-year man out of Cal. Came in as a free agent this year from the Baltimore Ravens. There's a look at his numbers there. So after the 61-yard punt and a 9-yard return, play action to Jackson. And it's open. That's Randy McMichael, and that's one thing that Bowler told us talking to him this week. He wanted to get the tight ends involved.
And early on, you see one thing that Kyle Bowler does bring that Mark Bolcher hasn't, and that's a mobility. They like to move him in the pocket. They do so early.
First carry of the day for Jackson. He's got supposedly a bad back, but it sure doesn't look like it on that run inside the Seahawks 40-yard line. Finally brought down by Jordan Babineau, but a huge pickup. First play, first run for him, 25 yards and a first.
And if you look at this run, focus on Jacob Bell right here. This is a guy who's been playing exceptional football. He's going to block down on the nose, Colin Cole, provide a huge block, and Steven Jackson, you give him space, he is going to make you pay.
Sam Congato checks in for Jackson. Jackson takes a breather. Look left side, it's not there. Tried to throw the receiver screen to Gibson, the backside, and it sails over his head. A look at the Seattle Seahawks defensively. They need to get better pressure from the front 4. That's coming straight from the head coach, Jim Mora. The linebacking crew, we talked about Curry, the rookie, but David Hawthorne, who subbed in for Lofa Tatupu, has done well. This is his 6th career start, leading the team with 70 tackles. Had 15 last week against the Minnesota Vikings. 2nd and 10. They try it again to the other side. That's Donnie Avery. He avoids one. Scampers upfield. Will be about a yard shy of the first down as he pumps the crowd. And Avery, the only wide receiver left on the active roster who was with the team in training camp. They've had a lot of injuries. They go back to Jackson, tries to step through the traffic. It's not there. Curry and Fells mixing it up. They're going to be shy. So Steve Spagnuolo looks as though he's trying to help out with the spot or asking for a measurement. An official's timeout. Our referee today, Scott Green, says, hold on a second, let me place this and get a closer look.
And as you start to think, if they don't have the first down, Steve Spagnuolo has gone for it the second most in the National Football League on fourth down. 6 of 18, 33% on fourth down. He has a tendency to like to go for it. I think early on you try to put points on the board.
Spagnuolo has said, I will stay the course. As you see, they're a little short. His team 1-9. He hasn't changed much. It's all about fundamentals. And when you're 1-9 here, I guess you won't go for it. The Boo Birds come out. They're going to go for the field goal. They bring on Josh Brown, the former Seattle Seahawks.
I think it's the right call. You know, you're an offensive football team that only averages 11.3 points per game. You get some good field position early. I think you got to take points when you have them.
This will be from 46-yard out.
Josh Brown has plenty of leg. He's long of 53 on the year, as you see there. And 10 of 13 has been fairly accurate.
Puts it down. It's drifting right. That will not make it. We're back here in St. Louis. So after the fourth down, they decide to go for the field goal and miss the field goal. Seattle will take over on the 36-yard line. The give, Forsett. Forsett is out of the gate. And look at Justin Forsett. He rips off a long run, and he'll go out of bounds inside the Rams' 40-yard line. That's a pickup of 25 yards.
Michelle talked earlier about Julius Jones being out, but you watch Justin Forsett. I think one of the things he does well, he has great vision. He sees the hole, and he follows his lead blocker, Justin Griffith, the fullback. The question on him is the speed. However, I feel even if Julius Jones is healthy, he's your best back. They don't give the ball to him enough. When they do, good things happen.
Hasselbeck in trouble. Throws it down, intended for Justin Griffith. Pressure on the play by Laurinaitis, and the starting lineup for the Seahawks. The left side has been a mix all year. Locklear will be in there at the left tackle. Rob Sims. They'll have the rookie Unger on the right side at the right guard spot. As we've already talked about, Forsett in to jumpstart the run game, a run game that was dismal last week. They set a franchise record of 4 yards total rushing in that beatdown against the Minnesota Vikings. 2nd and 10, play action. Looking for crossers. There's one. That's Carlson, and Carlson takes a lick, but he's got the first down and lets everyone know it. Quincy Butler hit him, but it was after the fact. 14 yards and a first. The Rams defense, they've been on the field an awful lot. Leonard Little, as you might expect, leads the team in sacks with 5.5. Chris Long starting to improve. 3 sacks on a day. A big sack last week, and that loss to Arizona. Laurinaitis, the leading tackler, with 96. He had 17 last week against Arizona. The secondary, keep your eye on Otagwe. He'll make a lot of plays at the free safety spot. Run, Forsett. Forsett showing that speed and burst through the hole, John, that you talked about. He'll take it down to the 15, maybe 14-yard line. Very close, if not a first. Looks to be just shy. And talk about the changes up front. And I think all of this started, John, with the IR, the injured reserve placing of Walter Jones, the Pro Bowler, at the beginning of the season.
Yeah, you know, they've had 4 left tackles, and that's not even counting Walter Jones that they expected, and 3 left guards. Hard to have any continuity when you're that many changing parts in an offensive line.
Lewis Rankin, he's going to get some run today. Looked as though he got the first down. Let's see where they mark it. Yes, it is a first down. Rankin, second-year man out of Washington, signed off the practice squad late October. basically took Edgerrin James's spot, who was cut November 3rd.
And Lewis Rankin is a guy who Jim Mora loves his speed. As you see the red zone offense, 28th in the NFL, not good enough. Should be better when you have a tight end like John Carlson. I think the ineffectiveness of the run game has been the problem.
Forsett back in. Pressure, just got it off, complete to the fullback Griffith. But he's stopped shy, is he? No, yep, just stopped shy of the first down, pushed out of bounds at about the 6-yard line. David Vabora, along with James Butler.
Keep your eyes on Leonard Little right here, working on Ray Willis, the right tackle. He has been incredible this season, Leonard Little. People thought he was long a tooth.
Reporting eligible, number 77.
But Leonard Little has had great pressure, but Matt Hasselbeck, enough time to get the ball to Justin Griffith in the flat. Nice gain for the Seattle Seahawks.
Second and short. Forsett looking for the goal line, stringing it out. A nice tackle, but it's a first down for Seattle. Laurinaitis scraped down the line. But Forsett takes it inside the 5. They'll mark it just outside the 3-yard line.
You see the Seattle Seahawks pulling right tackle Ray Willis. Justin Forsett, as I said, and you talk about wrapping up, you better bring your arms. James Laurinaitis, he comes out of there with Justin Forsett's shoe. This guy knows how to wrap up.
Forsett lost his shoe. There's a look at Greg Knapp, the Seahawks offensive coordinator. Trying to dial up 6 here for the offense. Obamano in short motion. Forsett stops his feet, keeps him going. Great second effort, touchdown Seahawks. Forsett with his 3rd rushing touchdown of the year. And a nice block by the center, Chris Spencer. But he made somebody miss in the backfield, John.
He did, excuse me, and that's what Justin Forsett does. He has great jump cut ability. I think he's a fit for this zone scheme. You give the ball to him, and you see that jump cut ability, finds the hole. As we talked about earlier, great vision, and this is a good sign for these Seattle Seahawks, the ability to run the football early.
Mare puts the extra point through clean. So the nice scoring drive, and really that man right there, Forsett, did the damage, and Seahawks fans are saying thank you very much after that dismal run performance in Minnesota last week. We already talked about it. A grand total of 4 yards rushing, setting a franchise record.
Absolutely. We talked about the critical nature of being able to protect Matt Hasselbeck. Well, the best way to do that is to have some balance in your offense and run the football. They're doing that well early.
The man to talk about for the Rams, obviously Steven Jackson last week went over the 1,000-yard rushing mark for the 5th straight season, passing Eric Dickerson for the most 1,000-yard rushing seasons in team history. That's quite a feat. And on this team at 1-9, I think he's definitely having an MVP type of season. He's had one long run today. That time he does not get much. A cleanup by Leroy Hill.
And this guy's a warrior. He's going to play a little injured, little nicked. He's been doing it all year and been playing at, as you said, an MVP level.
2nd and 9. Bowler holds it, throws it. Circus catch. Did he hold on? No, he didn't. You have to possess the ball past the ground in order for it to be called a catch. Donnie Avery can't hold on. Wilson on the coverage.
You watch Donnie Avery. He's going to come on a little dig or in route, and Josh Wilson does a great job of what DBs have to do, fight until the finish. And these days you have to catch the ball for so long and control it for so long. As a DB, you have to be extra careful to keep fighting. Josh Wilson does it right there, and as a result, incompletion. Jim Mora told us that Josh Wilson would match up all day on Donnie Avery.
3rd and 9. They bring blitz from the safety spot, and they get him. They brought Babineau, and Kearney was there as well, and it's a sack. And that will bring up 4th down.
Going to see Babineau right here come all the way through that gap. And Patrick Kearney right there working on Adam Goldberg. Patrick Kearney hasn't been himself as of late. This guy used to be a guy that if you gave him a one-on-one, he was going to win. He's been fighting through injuries. Right there, that's the Patrick Kearney that they were expecting this year and that people in this National Football League have come to know.
A loss of 8. Donnie Jones will punt it away to Nate Burleson. Burleson will take the high kick at the 34. Avoids one man, but won't avoid the 3rd. Great coverage by the Rams special teams. 53 yards on the punt. And that last sack actually credited to Patrick Kearney on the loss. 1st and 10. Fake the end around. They'll pass. Screen to the right side. It's dropped by Rankin. Got to catch those balls. Ooh, and Indianapolis now, one of the 2 unbeaten teams in the NFL, along with the Saints, in trouble early against the Texans. 2nd and 10 after the drop by Rankin. They'll go right back to him. Avoids one nicely, but won't avoid Laurinaitis. A pickup of 3. And a glance at the NFC playoff picture. John, we talked about that. I think the road to the Super Bowl will obviously go through New Orleans and really Minnesota, as Seahawks fans found out last week. They are on fire.
Yeah, don't sleep on these guys down here. The Arizona Cardinals, I think, playing as good as football as anybody in the National Football League. They've gotten balance in their offense. We saw them last week. They're playing at a very high level. That defense is playing well as well. Arizona, hot football team.
3rd and 7. The long out, and it's complete for a 1st down. Very smooth. Nate Burleson. In the first matchup, he led the team in catches, 7 catches for 74 yards. Had 6 last week against Minnesota.
And this is why it's so critical. You see Nate Burleson down here at the bottom of the screen running a simple out route. But look at the timing and the precision, the accuracy from Matt Hasselbeck. You protect a passer like Matthew Hasselbeck, he will hurt you. This guy is an accurate passer. He's a Pro Bowl player. Matt Hasselbeck likes it. He's getting that protection, and he's making him pay early.
Made him pay to the tune of 10 yards in the first. Rankin in the backfield. Throw outside. That's Smith, and Smith going nowhere. Nice open field tackle there. Larry Grant, the backup linebacker. The first matchup between these 2 teams, it was all about the Seattle Seahawks. Beat up on the Rams in Seattle in the opening game of the season, 28-0. They rushed for a total, John, of 167 yards, so they got to feel they can get back to that here today against an ailing Rams team.
Well, an ailing Rams run defense for sure.
Yeah.
New Orleans and Arizona have gashed them the last couple of weeks. A good team to get healthy if you're struggling running the football against.
2nd and 9, Rankin. Not a lot. Laurinaitis, a gain of about 4. That'll bring up a 3rd and 5. Rams bring in their nickel package, extra DBs, bring out a couple linemen.
You talk about running the football. Everyone expected them to be able to. They brought in a new scheme, but Greg Knapp has been a coordinator for 8 years prior to 2009. Every year has been top 10. To be dead last this year just doesn't fit in with what he's done.
Forsett checks in on the 3rd and short. Burleson will have the 1st down, then some. Going back to the yards after the catch that it seems like every offensive coordinator wants to talk about. That's 9 yards. And Knapp calling up some good plays.
Yeah, he is. And I think the balance early on, it slows down the pass rush from any team. The St. Louis Rams, they're trying to keep people back to protect the run. Forsett's been successful. All of a sudden, the passing lanes start opening up. People say you have to be able to pass the ball. Absolutely. But you have to be able to run the ball to loosen some things up.
Play action. Nice block in the backfield by Rankin. But the coverage is good down the field. The ball boy can't hold on.
See Matthew Hasselbeck asking Rankin where he was. They were supposed to be a play action. Well, he was protecting your backside.
Yeah.
You better thank him, not ask him what he's doing. He's blocking O.J. Atagwe, who's coming on a blitz. And sometimes if you have to abort the fake, protection trumps everything. You got to protect your quarterback.
Seahawks looking at a 2nd and long. They'll go to the run. Fumble. Rams recover. Justin King. So Rankin has dropped one out of the backfield. Now a fumble, and it'll be Rams ball. Paris Lennon knocked it out. Justin King picks it up. And Rankin will get credit for the fumble. So 1st and 10 Rams, ball at the 35-yard line. Jackson drives forward for a couple, maybe 3. Let's go back to the fumble.
And as you watch Paris Lennon, watch him get his hand in on the ball on Lewis Rankin right there. Paris Lennon, nice job getting after that football. And St. Louis comes up with the turnover. Steve Spagnuolo talked about creating extra possessions. They did. These guys came in dead even in terms of the turnover. Never seen anything like it. Every number, but you see one turnover and how can it can change that differential.
Rams looking at a 2nd down and 7. Gatto at fullback. Play action. They pick it up. Swing to Gatto. Gatto trips. Probably would have had the 1st down. Couldn't keep his feet. He'll be about a yard or 2 shy. Brought down by Leroy Hill.
Yeah, and I think, Ron, you had to expect to see Samkan Gatto and or Kenneth Darby. I mean, Steven Jackson, 250 touches, leading the NFL. At some point, you got to start integrating these other guys into the offense. Coming into today, the other 2 halfbacks only rushed for 83 combined yards and 28 combined receiving yards. You got to get them involved at some point. Take some of the load off Steven Jackson.
3rd and short. Darby checks in for Jackson. The slant, and there's the marker intended for Gibson. Marcus Trufant pulls the PI. And that'll be a 5th PI.
Interference, defense, number 23. Ball will be placed, spot of the foul, 1st down.
That's a 5th on Trufant. That's the most in the NFL.
And watch Brandon Gibson right here working his fellow Washington State Cougar. He sets him up with a little move outside. This guy runs very good routes, and those are the type of the routes that they like. But they haven't quite worked the timing downfield, but those slant routes is something he's very proficient at. Brandon Gibson has been a nice find for the St. Louis Rams.
Brought in with that Will Witherspoon trade back October 20th, and has really made some nice plays for this team. Plenty of time. Bowler uncorks it right into coverage. Babineau is in the area intended for Avery. The carry to Steven Jackson. For a few inside. Darryl Tapp on the tackle. The last 2 weeks, some close games for the Rams. Last week they came back from a 21-3 deficit to lose on the final possession to the Cardinals, 21-13. 2 weeks ago, they lost on the final drive to the New Orleans Saints. Played a great game, 28-23, but you know, here we go with that moral victory thing. Nobody wants to hear about that around here when you're 1-9. They need to hear about W's. 3rd and 8. Amendola in motion. Wide open on the outside. That's Revell Martin, and Martin will have an easy 1st down as he works inside the Seahawks 30-yard line. Finally pushed out by Jordan Babineau. A pickup of 27 yards.
And 3rd and long, you better protect your quarterback. Adam Goldberg, nice job outside. Kyle Bowler hangs in there tough and delivers a strike to Revell Martin. Steve Spagnuolo said about Revell Martin, we're fortunate to have a guy like this who has the experience. He's played a lot of football at Green Bay. He's been there before. He's done it in big games, and he comes up big early here on a big 3rd down conversion.
4-year man out of Saginaw Valley State, signed September 16th, and as my partner said, spent the last 3 years up in Green Bay, including a stint over in the former NFL Europe League. That's Jackson. You know, it's clear when Jackson gets the ball, you see almost 10 jerseys, 11 jerseys around him. The key to stopping him, pursuit, swarm.
Yeah, and Jim Mora did not hide the fact that they were going to load the box. He said it's imperative we stop Steven Jackson. They felt like they did a good job early week 1 in the season doing it. They said, we're going to load up the box. It's going to open up the matchups, but that's a chance we're going to take because you have to at least contain. You aren't going to stop Steven Jackson, contain him to have any chance of success.
The Seahawks with problems in the red zone. The Rams have problems as well, second to last. And red zone touchdowns. Hitting the flat, and thus far, Bowler is very confident, very efficient. That's Bajema. Well, the Rams still continue to struggle in first quarter points, as the graphic shows there. But the good news for this game, Kyle Bowler doing a nice job of taking the team down the field.
He is. He's been sharp early. But the bottom line, people are looking for winners at the quarterback position. He wants a win in the worst way today.
3rd and 3. A nice move there by Amendola. Amendola looking for goal line. A pickup of 11.
And you know, the silver lining in losing their #1 receivers in LaRon Robinson and Keenan Burton is that they found guys like Danny Amendola. Look at him in the slot working Josh Wilson, who's a good player in that nickel. And when people start making the Welker comparisons, at first you say, hold on. But the more you see him, he does start to resemble some of the things that Wes Welker does. He's been a great find for this St. Louis Rams offense.
Jackson looking for the goal line. He's going to be about a yard shy. Darryl Tapp says not today.
One of the things you like if you're the Seattle Seahawks here early, Ron, I wasn't so sure. I've played in this defense that Gus Bradley has brought to the Seattle Seahawks, and it's imperative you get people to the ball. You swarm the ball. Against Minnesota, I wasn't so sure I saw that enthusiasm, that swarm, that buzzsaw type thing. Early on, you're seeing a lot of people get to the football and making it tough on Steven Jackson.
2nd and goal, 2 tight ends on the field. Bootleg looking for Avery. He's wide open. Touchdown, Rams. So for Donnie Avery, his 5th touchdown of the season. And you saw he got his dance on a little bit there. Got in trouble for that dance earlier in the year.
He's a guy that I think they have to continue to target more. He's an explosive player. He can get lost in games. You got to find ways to get him involved. The last couple of weeks, they've done a good job of doing that.
So the Seahawks start off the game with a nice drive and early points. The Rams answer. Look at that drive. 10 plays, 65 yards. Take some time off the clock, and they cap it off with the nicely executed 1-yard touchdown catch. Bowler to Avery.
Kyle Bowler, 7 of 10 on the day with 1 TD, but very, very sharp.
Obamanu hammers it out to the 26-yard line. Solid numbers for Kyle Bowler in only his 3rd start of the season. Been very efficient.
He has been, and you know, Jim Mora didn't hide it. We're going to stack the box to stop Steven Jackson. Well, as a quarterback, you have to counter that and make him pay by throwing the ball downfield. Yet you're going to have one-on-one matchups, and he's done that very well thus far today.
This is Forsett. Forsett trying the left side. I think he lost yards on that play. Darrell Scott, the 4th-round pick out of Clemson, is there. Let's go back to the touchdown.
Donnie Avery, he's going to come in motion right there, and your fullback's out, Mike Carney. So you put your 183-pound guy, to be generous, at fullback, and then watch him come right out. They hide him at the fullback position, take him out to the flat, utilize Kyle Bowler's mobility. He throws with Leroy Hill. Touchdown. Very creative by offensive coordinator Pat Sherman.
Forsett just got back to the line of scrimmage. The quick throw to Deion Branch. And Branch has been very quiet of late. The former Super Bowl MVP, inactive the first 2 weeks of the season with a bad hamstring. You see bits and pieces of him in the offense coming in with 23 catches.
And Matt Hasselbeck said it's been tough. They have so many weapons. There was so much hope for so many receivers. TJ Hushmanzada, Burleson, Carlson, Deion Branch, they all want the ball. Said it's been tough to feed all these guys when they haven't been on the field that much.
Rams showing blitz. They may be bluffing 3rd and 5. Otagwe coming from the bottom of your screen. He's not bluffing, and he tips it. And he makes a play there.
Yeah, and very interesting. Matt Hasselbeck told us week 1, they blitz 75% of the time. You're going to see Otagwe come off the corner. And Matt Hasselbeck said that the first week 1, they came 75% of the time on 3rd down. Since then, they haven't. Well, they're bringing the pressure again. Maybe it's something against Matt Hasselbeck. They like bringing the heat.
Ryan will punt it away. His first punt was 61 yards. This one, nowhere near that one. Comes up short. Amendola screaming to tell guys to get away from it. Did it hit someone? The Seahawks say it did, but the officials say no. We're at 7-7 here in St. Louis. Kyle Bowler has been sharp. He's moved the team down the field. He's answered to Seattle's first score, first strike in the first quarter. They'll go to Jackson. A collision there at the line of scrimmage. He tries to bounce it outside and got a few. Jay Glazer always with the new novel info, the latest line on just about anything. You can check him out every Sunday on the pregame show. And that's a first down. Let's see where they mark it officially, but Brandon Gibson looked like he fell forward, and it is a first down. He picks up 7 yards.
Brandon Gibson is a guy who's impressed me and everybody with the St. Louis Rams with his ability to run good routes and snag the ball with his hands. He does an excellent job of snagging that football. And we asked him about that. He said he goes back to his offensive coordinator at Washington State and receiver coach Mike Levenseller, who told him at Washington State we catch the ball with his hands. Well, he did a good job because this young man does a very good job of somewhat of a lost art these days, catching the football with your hands.
8 completions to 7 different receivers. Is Bowler play action. There's pressure. Can't hold it that long. But you talked about the mobility, John, and there it is. He'll fall about 2 yards shy of the first down. And he's fired up. Or maybe he's just cussing at the sideline. Somebody missed an assignment. He picks up 8.
Well, we saw 2 things on that play that Bowler brings. And number 1, a mobility. Your offensive line's banged up. The blocking's not always going to be perfect. He has the ability to escape and make some things happen. Number 2, an energy. Everybody you talk to on the St. Louis Rams, from their head coach to Steven Jackson, will tell you Kyle brings an energy to the huddle that's very good to have in that huddle. 2nd and 2, Darby in at the halfback spot. That's Martin in motion. Give to Darby for 2. I don't think he got it. He definitely didn't get it. In fact, he lost 1. And that's the predicament you're in as a head coach. You know, you say you got to take some touches off Steven Jackson, but yet the guy's so good, you hate to take him off the field. You know, Kenneth Darby and Sam Congato just haven't been productive, and at some point you got to find out, is it because they can't do it, or it's just he's so good, Steven Jackson, that you don't want to take him off the field.
A quick glance there at Pat Shurmur, the Rams offensive coordinator, his first year here as offensive coordinator. 3rd down and 3 for him. Caught. First down Rams. Amendola. And that's why people keep wanting to make the comparison to Wes Welker, because Wes Welker is a guy that no one seems to cover. Somehow he gets open like Amendola did there.
Yeah, you know what? They say they're too small.
Yeah.
They're too slow. Well, you know what? They're football players. And this guy, every time we see him, he impresses you more. And I'll tell you something, the St. Louis Rams should be sending Christmas cards to the Philadelphia Eagles, because they picked up Danny Amendola and Brandon Gibson from the Philadelphia Eagles, who were loaded at wide receiver, but 2 very good additions for the St. Louis Rams by GM Billy Devaney.
Both went to Texas Tech as well. 6 in a row for Bowler. It ends right there. Nice play. Jordan Babineau coming down from the free safety spot, making a play. Before this throw, you look at Bowler's numbers, and I already mentioned how he is spreading it around.
I'd say so. 7 different receivers, very efficient. You know, this young man, Kyle Bowler, he's been a starter before in this league. He thinks he can have a rebirth. He understands that this is his audition. You know, the Rams quarterback of the future is in question. He wants to be that guy. He's doing a nice job here today, stating his case.
1 tight end, 3 wides. Jackson in the backfield. He'll get the call. And Jackson keeps his feet moving close to the 40-yard line.
Everyone loads up to stop him, but he manages to be productive each and every week.
Leads the NFC in total yards from scrimmage. 9 carries for 44 yards on the day. That one skipped in, intended for Donnie Avery. Boy, it makes you appreciate the season that Chris Johnson is having in Tennessee, because with over 1,000 yards already, Jackson is the 2nd leading rusher in the NFL.
Yeah, you know, we haven't seen Tennessee. I've watched highlights of Chris Johnson, but I can't imagine anybody playing any better than this guy. But yet the numbers dictate that Chris Johnson's playing just as well or better.
So Donnie Jones will try to kill this one inside the 10-yard line. We were talking before the game. The stat measures punters from the 20 on in. He said, I'm aiming really for the 10 or 5 on in. Or better yet, the fair catch. He's got a shot here. That one goes straight to the end zone. Pressure. Hasselbeck hangs in there. A marker goes down. And it's incomplete, intended for Justin Griffith. But that's in the area of holding. Pressure by Leonard Little.
Holding. Offense. Number 65. 10-yard penalty. First down.
Going against the center, Chris Spencer. And John, this is the kind of dogfight that really typifies the Seahawks season. Tied here early, 7-7.
You see Chris Spencer, the center, grabbing a little jersey. The umpires don't miss those type of holds. You got to hold those hands inside. You can hold, but you better do it in the right way.
1st and 20. Forsett. Not a lot there for Forsett. Lennox Verbora there, along with a couple others, a pickup of 3. And I was mentioning, John, this typifies the Seahawks season. The final game of a 3-game roads series. It's really been kind of nasty. Last week, the 35-9 loss to the Vikings in Minnesota after losing a close one out in Arizona. They held the ball for only 17 minutes last week against the Vikings. Now tied up and backed up here against the Rams. That's Forsett again, and Forsett hammers it out past the 20-yard line. He'll get back some of the penalty yardage. He picks up 9, but they're going to have a ways to go for the first.
And we watched the fine young linebacker James Laurinaitis on this play. Seattle sticking with the run. Rob Sims doing a nice job getting up to the second level, giving Forsett some room. People may say, what are you doing running the football on 2nd and 17? They know they have to protect their quarterback. The only way to do that is to mix the run in, and they're going to be committed to that here today.
3rd and 8. Caught by Branch, but no shot for the first down. Atagwe is all over it. And that'll bring on the punting unit for Seattle. Atagwe, the 2nd leading tackler, and his 59th consecutive start, making some plays here early for the Rams.
Well, O.J. Atagwe, this guy's a football player. You know, he leads the league since 2006 when he became a starter in combined forced fumbles and interceptions with 35. He's always around the ball. Right there, we see him making a key open field tackle. They're going to complete passes. You better tackle and eliminate those 3rd down conversions. Nice play by O.J. Atagwe.
Ryan got a hold of that one. Drives Amendola all the way back. A marker goes down at the 23-yard line. And Amendola goes down at about the 28. So Scott Green and his crew, early signs say it's going against the Rams. 49 yards on the punt.
During the return, illegal block in the back. Receiving team, 10-yard penalty, 1st down.
Yeah, and you look at that piece, the history of the NFC West, the recent history, it all comes down to one thing to me, the quarterback position. Who's playing best at that position? And right now it's Kurt Warner out in Arizona.
Jackson trying to break through. Leroy Hill wraps him up at the source down by his legs. A good tackle, but he gets 4.
But back to that NFC West, you look at Steve Young playing at such a high level, a Hall of Fame quarterback. They were on top when Steve Young was there. Then Kurt Warner in the greatest show on turf was supposed to be our colleague Trent Green. That didn't work out. Kurt Warner comes in, takes them to Super Bowls, wins Super Bowls. Matt Hasselbeck has his time going to 2 Super Bowls. Excuse me, to a Super Bowl with the Seattle Seahawks, and now Kurt Warner back on top at Arizona, taking his team to Super Bowls. The quarterback position is so critical to success in this league.
2nd and 6, the play action holds him. A receiver falls down. No marker, wait, there's one very late. Intended for Avery. I think Avery lobbied and got that one. Trufant may have grabbed him, I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's either going to be a hold or a pass interference.
Number 23, 5-yard penalty, automatic, 1st down.
And watch Marcus Trufant right here on Donnie Avery. It's interesting because Marcus Trufant, Jim Mora told us, would be matched up. But watch right there, the little tug on the left arm. Referees will call it if they see a tug. If they see a change of speed by the receivers, Marcus Trufant trying to do an old trick of the trade, but the referee calls him, and a nice call by the referee. And Trufant struggled, Ron. You know, Jim Mora told us he was on PUP with the back injury early. He hasn't been the same guy since he's come back. He doesn't feel the same physically.
Timeout.
And a timeout called by Seattle, and that PUP means physically unable to perform. He hurt his back in early drills before the season started. That means you will be out. You have to stay out a minimum of 6 weeks to start the season. So he did that, but it takes timing to get back into the groove.
New Orleans playing outstanding football. You know, you wondered early, could they keep that pace going? They certainly are offensively. They've had some chinks in their armor as a defense, but always with that offense, enough to win football games, and they've just been outstanding. Losing Matt Ryan for the Atlanta Falcons, obviously huge.
So 1st and 10 after the penalty. There's a slip down by Gatto. What do the old coaches used to tell you? Son, we can find anybody to slip down, right? Don't slip in this league.
Stay on your feet. I had an old football coach, Floyd Peters, my first in the NFL.
Floyd Peters. Yeah,
he said,
remember him.
"Rookie, great players don't end up on the ground. You're on the ground too much." Well, I started keeping my feet after Floyd told me that, because he told me I'd be on I-275 if I didn't. That's the old freeway down in Tampa.
With a pack of Bazooka Joe and a comic book, right? Going home. 2nd down and 11. An early jump. I thought it was a little too early. There was a throw, a catch, and a hit. Kelly Jennings working on Gibson, but I think Darryl Tapp was a little early.
Yeah, he got a great get off, but just too early.
Offside, defense, number 55, 5-yard penalty, 2nd down.
And look at the penalties thus far. Seattle starting to pile on here. Earlier this drive, we had the holding by Trufant.
Yeah, and this is something, for years, they've been at the top of the league in fewest penalties. They started the year through about 6 games, as good as anybody in that department. Last couple weeks, they've been penalized as much as anybody in the league. They've got to clean that up.
Jackson on the 2nd down and 6 carry gets to about the 28-29 yard line, a pickup of 2. We talked a lot about Laurinaitis, the 2nd-round pick for the Rams, but here's a look at Aaron Curry, the number 4 player taken overall in this year's draft.
And you know, and Jim Morris said they were going to take some off his plate so he could start playing with speed, and he's off the field right now in their nickel package. This guy's outstanding talent. I think they got to put him in positions where they just say, go get the quarterback, not have him think so much, because he is an outstanding talent that I think worthy of being a 4th pick in the draft.
A 3rd down and 4. Going to the long corner route. It's wide open, and it's caught. Ruvel Martin. No flags down. It counts as Martin goes down at the Seahawks 40-yard line. 33 big ones on the pass play.
An outstanding job by Kyle Bowler. You watch Patrick Kearney, he's going to come all the way over here and put pressure. But as a quarterback in the National Football League, you better be willing to stand in there against the heat. Kyle Bowler stands in there with Patrick Kearney coming down right up the middle on him and delivers a beautiful pass to Ruvel Martin, who really showed up big for the St. Louis Rams here today.
That was a bust back there. Someone looked as though they voided the deep outside 3rd of the field. Whatever it was, the Rams will take it, and they'll give to Jackson. Jackson for a few. Craig Terrell on the tackle. A look once again there at Pat Shurmur, the Rams offensive coordinator. And I mentioned earlier that Rams head coach Steve Spagnuolo said, we are not backing off. In fact, this week we have emphasized details and how we prepare more than anything. The little things, as you just mentioned, John. Swing pass, that's dangerous with a guy like Jackson.
You watch Jason Brown, he just went off the field with an injury. You're going to see the right guard, Mark Sedestrom, and Corey Redding, the 3 technique, the defensive tackle, fall on that right ankle. Oof, and that doesn't look good. That looks like right ankle, possibly medial collateral ligament there. Not a good thing. This guy's been playing at an outstandingly high level.
Mark Sedestrom will move over to the center spot, and John Greco will take Sederstrom's spot at the guard position. 3rd and 4. Pressure and a quick throw, almost a great catch by Amendola. Pressure on the play by Aaron Curry. And you see they're attending to Jason Brown's knee.
It appears as if Steve Spagnuolo is going to keep his offense out there on 4th and 4.
So a 4th and 4. They failed to, or elected not to go for an earlier 4th down. Went for the field goal and missed the field goal. So they're going to go for it here. Plenty of time. Tipped up, picked off. Josh Wilson will go the distance. 1 man to beat, and he does. Touchdown, Seahawks, no flags down. It will count 64 yards. Tipped by Kelly Jennings. The second interception of the year for Josh Wilson.
A great play by Kelly Jennings and great finish by Josh Wilson. But if I'm Kyle Bowler, I'm a little upset with my wide receiver, Donnie Avery. You got to fight for that ball on 4th down. And right there, what happened, Kelly Jennings just fought a little harder than Donnie Avery. You cannot wait for the ball at wide receiver. You got to throw in some tight windows. Kyle Bowler trusted Donnie Avery, and Donnie Avery let him down right there.
Extra point is good, and talk about ways to lose a game. This now is a microcosm of the Rams season. Here they are tied up on a 4th and 4 under the 2-minute warning with a chance to get points. The worst possible thing happens for them.
And that's what I'm talking about right there. As a wide receiver, you got to fight for that ball. Your quarterback is entrusting you to win the one-on-one matchup, and part of that trust is the worst thing that can happen is it's an incomplete pass. The absolute devastating thing is that it's a touchdown, and Kyle Bowler right there likely really disappointed with himself, but also Donnie Avery. You got to win those matchups, and as a quarterback, you have to be able to trust the fact that your receivers will. But a nice play for Kelly Jennings and Josh Wilson, 2 corners that have been much maligned and talked about in Seattle and beaten up for their inability to cover the great wide receivers down at Arizona and the likes. But right there, they're doing a wonderful job of getting their team back on top. And those are the type of plays that you need if you're struggling as a defense and a team.
The second time Josh Wilson has done that, he did it earlier in the year, actually about 3 weeks ago against Detroit. Picked one off for 61 yards and a touch. So just like that, it goes to a 7-point lead for the Seattle Seahawks. They'll kick it away with 1:38 left to play here in the first half. And there's a great kick. And that one goes into the end zone. And the throw in the middle, that's Kenneth Darby, and Darby is chopped down just in front of the first down marker. Let's go down to Nichelle Turner.
Hey guys, just want to give you a little update on Jason Brown. He has just left the field. The official word on him is a right knee sprain. His return is questionable. Back to you.
That one up in the air and almost intercepted again. That time David Hawthorne had a beat on it.
And if you're Kyle Bowler right now, all right, your receiver didn't win. They turned it into a big interception return. You got to bounce back, and we'll see if Pat Shurmur and Steve Spagnuolo trust him to continue to throw the ball and try to put points on before the half.
Josh Wilson's interception officially now marked as a 65-yard INT for a touch. 3rd and 2. Going to the out, Amendola has it, should try to get out of bounds. He doesn't. He gets the first down, that's the good news, but he does not get out of bounds. They're going to be forced to call a timeout.
St. Louis.
And they do, they've got one left.
This is a 30-second timeout.
And the Rams officially with 2 timeouts left. 1 minute, 6 seconds left here in the first half. The protection, he looked deep, it wasn't there. Now he's in trouble. And he'll go down. Tap is there along with Corey Reddy.
And a nice job by the Seattle Seahawks in coverage and then up front. You know, one of the disappointments of this season, as you see the play develop, no one open for Kyle Bowler.
Bowler got back to the line of scrimmage. There's a throw outside intended for Amendola. It's caught and covered by Jennings.
You got to hurry up your act if you're St. Louis here.
3rd and 6. The check down to Darby. A marker comes in, and Darby goes down at the 46-yard line.
Flag on the play.
Bowler a little slow to get up there.
Legal contact downfield is what it appears to be.
Illegal contact, number 57, defense. Penalty is declined. First down.
That's against David Hawthorne. They decline it. They'll take the gain on the play and keep it moving.
That allows St. Louis to keep that timeout. They would have had to waste 2 timeouts with 22 seconds. Plenty of time to put points on the board.
Seahawks spring blitz. And that ball hit the ground. Intended for Gibson. 17 seconds left.
The usually sure-handed Gibson is frustrated with himself. See Brandon Gibson right here working against Marcus Trufant. Just a little stop route. As I said, usually sure-handed, just didn't look that football all the way into his hands.
That ball is tipped coming out, intended for Avery on the curl route. Nick Reed, the 7th-round pick out of Oregon, got a piece of it. 14 seconds left.
A nice job by these Seahawks. One of the disappointments of this season. You see Reed coming on the blitz. If you aren't going to get to the quarterback, get your hands up. He does it. But one of the disappointments is the lack of pass rush. They're doing a nice job of getting there with 4 and then mixing in the pressure. Good job by defensive coordinator Gus Bradley, continuing to bring the heat.
13 seconds and counting. Amendola in the middle of the field. They either got to get on the ball and drop it or call a timeout. And they do call the timeout.
Well, they called the timeout, but they're about 5 or 6 seconds that they let waste right there. You got to be efficient with your time here.
St. Louis, this is their second charge timeout. 30-second timeout.
Looked as though there was a little confusion.
Yeah, you know, and part of that confusion is, do you have a first down or not? But they were short by a couple of yards. But I think you got to call that timeout. You have 2 left, and then, you know, you still have 1. You have an opportunity to get 5 or 6 more yards that could come in very, very in handy for the Rams.
So Brown missed on an earlier attempt from 46 yards out. This one will be marked at 55. He hit from here in pregame. He's got enough leg. It's straight, no markers, and it's good. So the former Seahawk gets some points going in at the half. So Amendola will be back deep to get us going here in the second half. Olindo Mari will kick it away for the Seattle Seahawks. Mari tries to drive this one out of the end zone and does a pretty good job of it. That ball about 3 feet off the ground, but it got out of the end zone. Let's go down to the 3rd member of our crew, Nichelle Turner.
Hey guys, even though the Seahawks are up, Jim Moore's a little frustrated with his team. He told me in the second half, these guys are going to run the ball, protect the quarterback, and make catches downfield. I told him that sounds like football 101. He looked at me and said, exactly. On the other side, Coach Spagnolo says he told his team this is an evenly matched ball game. Somebody in the second half has got to step up and make that play. He hopes that it will be his guys. I'll have a report on Jason Brown just a little bit. Back to you.
All right, Nichelle, thank you very much. And the Rams go back to the run game. That's Steven Jackson. Started off the first run of the game, and it was a good one, over 20 yards. Let's go back down to Nichelle Turner.
Yeah, guys, just a Jason Brown update. We're told that he is inside getting x-rays right now. They don't have anything definitive on that knee, but we will know something hopefully by the end of the game. Back to you.
All right, and a pickup of 4 there by Jackson.
And that hurts, you know. Jason Brown, they feel like they've strung up the middle. They're already missing Jason Smith. That hurts. An already banged up offensive line loses really their best player who's playing right now.
First penalty of the second half, and a great play by Marcus Trufant. Gibson was about to pull the ball down, but Trufant got up there and knocked it away. But let's see where the flag is.
Offside. Defense, number 59, lined up in the neutral zone. 5-yard penalty, second down.
Oh, that's a cheap one there. That's Aaron Curry.
You watch Aaron Curry, there he is right there. I'm not so sure about that call lined up in the neutral zone. But again, the Seattle Seahawks defenders, Marcus Trufant, doing a nice job finishing the play. Jim Mora told us that Marcus Trufant this week had his best week of practice. He feels like physically he's coming back, and they were expecting good things.
That'll make it a 2nd and 1 after the penalty. Jackson busting through, and that's good enough for a first down. He almost took it for a long one. Darryl Tapp stopped it.
You know, Ron, we've done these St. Louis Rams. We've covered them enough to know that the one thing they lack is explosiveness. They lack explosiveness, and you see 0 scoring drives of 4 plays or less. The only team in the NFL to have that. You study football in this football league right now, you better be able to have explosion plays. It leads to scores, and that's why they're only at 11.3 points. It's too hard to work down every single time on drives. The defenses are too good.
Play action to Jackson. Man-to-man looking for Avery. It's underthrown and knocked away nicely at the last second. Wilson again with a great play.
Watch Josh Wilson right here on Donnie Avery. They're going to try to utilize Donnie Avery's speed, but Jim Morris said we're going to put Josh Wilson on Avery. We want speed on speed. And right there, I think Kyle Bowler wishes he had put it out there. Donnie Avery actually had a step. But nice job by Josh Wilson of looking back, locating the football, and not panicking in a situation in which he was beat.
That'll make it 2nd and 10. Pump and go. Go on the other side. It's not there. They come back to Gibson. Well, you have to admire the way Gibson snatches the ball out of the air. He gets 5.
He does, and that's one thing Mark Bolger told us when he first arrived that he noticed right away. He said he has a rare ability to snatch the football, and you have to. When you're going against Pro Bowl players like Marcus Trufant, they've got long arms. You've got to reach out and grab that ball. And you see guys like Gibson lead to success on 3rd down. The Rams going at a good rate, 50% on 3rd down, and right here is a key 3rd down for them.
It's a 3rd and 5. Seahawks showing pressure. They bring 8 up. Going bootleg. He's looking for a crosser. It's not there yet. A missed sack, but they get it on the back end. David Hawthorne was chasing from the start, and they bring him down for the sack, the loss, along with Redding, and that'll bring up 4th down, a loss of 10 yards.
Well, if the play looks familiar, it's because it is. This is the same play that they ran earlier. Donnie Avery for the short touchdown, coming to the fullback position, rolling out to the flat. Kyle Bowler doesn't have him for the first down, tries to make something happen, but David Hawthorne, who's really filled in well for Lofa Tatupa, does a great job of being relentless on Kyle Bowler, and they get off the field on 3rd down.
So Nate Burleson is back deep. He's standing at the 20-yard line looking for a big play here. He'll get the ball from Donnie Jones. Seahawks set up a return. Good kick. Takes Burleson inside the 10-yard line. He's looking for a wall. Gets rid of the first wave, but doesn't get past the second wave. 60 yards on the punt. And John, there's a look at the dreadful time of possession. That's coming in off the heels of a 17-minute and 49-second dreadful time of possession last week up in Minnesota.
And Hasselbeck told us it's hard to utilize all these weapons when you aren't on the field. You got to possess the ball. Look for him to run the football.
Forsett tried to cut it back and got chopped down. James Hall, the backup defensive end, who's been coming in and making some big plays. He's all over Forsett.
Penetration kills running games, and you see Lawan Ramsey in the middle. Get some, Darryl Scott in the middle. Get some penetration, force Justin Forsett to cut back, and James Hall, who's been extremely productive for the Rams this year, rotating with Chris Long with a nice play.
Forsett got back to the original line of scrimmage. Forsett again, and this time he goes backwards. Darrell Scott with the play.
And Darrell Scott making 2 nice plays in a row. When I study these St. Louis Rams and why they struggle to stop the run, it's been a really Achilles heel for them. I think that's right where you look, the middle of that defense. When you're in a 4-3, those defensive tackles better be able to wreak havoc in there. Think of Warren Sapp and all the great players that have played in this system. You better be good in the middle, and the Rams are lacking there. Darrell Scott trying to do something about that.
A loss of 4, screen dropped. And that's a loose ball, is it? No. Incomplete pass. That'll bring up 4th down.
See them try to play off the pressure coming from St. Louis with the screen, but Forsett doesn't look the football in. And when you're trying to possess the ball, a 3-and-out isn't how you want to start. They're down 3 3-and-outs in a row for the Seattle Seahawks. Why aren't you possessing the ball? Why does TJ Houshmandzadeh have 0 catches? Because you aren't on the field long enough.
Leonard Little, the oldest Ram, and that's partially blocked. KC Asado got a piece of that ball. The ball went over the line of scrimmage. All the Rams had to do was leave the ball alone, but they'll end up with it as a result here anyways.
Watch Lance Lowry.
When a player is passive and pushed into the ball, he's deemed not to have touched the ball. Therefore, the ball is placed at that spot. 1st down.
A good call there by Scott Green. A player pushed into it, an inadvertent touch, more or less. But a great job by Asadu coming in right there on top.
You see Lance Lowry, you know, Leroy Hill lets him go and leaves it on Lawyer Malloy, who I think does a nice job trying to clean up the trash for Leroy Hill. But very nice block by Lance Lowry, making a play. The St. Louis Rams, when you're losing as a football team, you're 1-on-9, you need someone to make that play. Right. Nichelle said it, Steve Spagnuolo. Who's going to make that play? Well, right there, Lance Lowry doing his part, and we'll see if they can translate it into points.
So Rams take over in great field position. They'll go back to the run game. And Jackson, no gain on the play. Brandon Mebane on the tackle. If you're just checking in with us, the Seahawks got on the board early. The Rams answered back 2 long drives by each team. The Seahawks got Forsett going early with some nice runs. Then Josh Wilson with a 65-yard interception return for a touchdown just before half, deep in Rams territory. Or actually deep in their own territory. And Brown hit a 55-yarder for the Rams right before half. Screen wide open for Jackson. He's got some room. Avoids 2 men and gets a 1st down.
Well, Seattle loaded up the box, and St. Louis, as a result, struggling to run the football. Well, what do? You find other ways to get your best player the football. Nice job by Mark Setterstrom out there leading on the screen, and Steven Jackson, he's going to carry some people. Nice hustle by Brandon Mebane getting back. But good gain for the St. Louis Rams, and Pat Shurmur being creative with ways to get Steven Jackson the football.
And Jackson coming in as obviously the leader in rushing for the team, but also leads the team in catches, showing a little of that from the screen play. That time he loses yards.
And you know, Ron, right there, excuse me, right there I think you see maybe some of the effects of the back injury. He looks good, but usually right there Steven Jackson is inflicting the pain on the defense, and right there he kind of cringed right before that group of Seattle players. So he's hurting, he's fighting through it though, and certainly they're better off with a maybe 85% Steven Jackson than no Steven Jackson at all.
At the beginning of the year he talked about pacing himself and staying healthy throughout the season. He's done a good job of that with the exception of this past week, but showing no ill effects of that bad back. And Bowler putting his head down after the loss of 2 yards by Jackson, and he's able to pick up 1. Patrick Kearney is there for the tackle.
And one of the principles of the West Coast offense is same plays out of different looks. Again, earlier it was Donnie Avery. Now it's going to be Billy Badgema, the reserve tight end, with the same action. Kyle Bowler has him early, but Aaron Curry, nice job of covering in the flat. Kyle Bowler tries to pull it down, and it sets up a big 3rd and 11.
Darby in at the halfback spot. He motions out of the backfield. No protection in the backfield for Bowler. He's hit as he throws it. It's up for grabs and intercepted. Jordan Babineau sits on it. He's not down yet. Now he's down. And that'll be a touchback. A marker goes down in the end zone. That's Babineau's second interception of the season. Well, let's see what the flag is all about. So the Seahawks secondary being very opportunistic here at this end of the field.
As we wait on Scott Green, they're conferring. But you look at the play, and really earlier I blamed Donnie Avery for the interception, not Kyle Bowler. You're going to see Donnie Avery or Danny Amendola in the slot. He's got to step. Kyle Bowler's got to put that ball out there in front. That's an underthrown football, and a very nice play by Babineau. Jordan Babineau is a safety they put in because they were looking for bigger plays. It really hasn't translated, but right there making a key play for his football team.
Babineau was fined $5,000 last week for a major face mask penalty on.
After the interception, tripping by the tackling team, number 16, 10-yard penalty on all.
That's going against Amendola. So a 4 wide receiver look for the Seahawks. They'll come out passing. Tight coverage, but a catch, and the first catch of the day for TJ Houshmandzadeh. That's 4 yards. Hard to say that. First catch here in the third quarter. Seneca Wallace checks in for Hasselbeck. They've been known to run their version of Tampa Bay's pistol or Wildcat, if you will,
they
whatever.
Call it their Seneca package.
Yep, the Seneca package. High snap. Seneca takes it on his own, gets the first down, then some. So unlike last week against Minnesota, the Seneca package comes out with a nice debut, a pickup of 10 yards.
And watch the snap. Chris Spencer with a broken right hand, but Seneca Wallace, exceptional athletic ability, breaking containment. Chris Long had containment there. Seneca Wallace getting outside and making him pay with their mobility. There's a way to possess the football. You start grinding the football a little bit. Quick reception to Houshmandzadeh. Put some creativity with the gain from Seneca Wallace.
They'll go back to the ground game in Forsett, and Forsett with a nice run. He's across midfield. Brought down by Butler.
You see Justin Forsett in there again. My feeling from week 1 was this is your best back. You know, I think the feeling in Seattle as well, he's not fast enough. Well, in my mind, he's the best you have, the best fit. They gave him the ball early. He worked him over 55 yards in the first quarter. I think 8 cents prior to that gain, but a good gain right there.
Great bootleg. No one saw it. And there goes Matt Hasselbeck. That was the bootleg of life. There are 10 jock straps on the ground right now, and they all belong to the Rams.
Running the football does a number of things for you. It opens up the passing game, and it also opens up things like bootlegs. And watch Quincy Butler right here. Oh. He's certainly fooled. Everybody on that defense is fooled. And Matt Hasselbeck, you know, getting a little older, but still has some athletic ability.
Didn't you comment on that, watching him? You thought maybe he had a little of that Brett Favre holdover. They're going for the end zone. Intended for Houshmandzadeh, and Houshmandzadeh can't hold on. Atagwe is in the area along with Butler.
I think TJ wanted, maybe he felt that O.J. Atagwe was a little early, kind of hooking him with that right arm. But a nice play by Atagwe, actually just timing it up perfectly.
The Seahawks now getting back some rhythm. I don't think we've seen this type of rhythm as far as the play calling since the first half. They'll go with the toss to Forsett. Forsett thrown down like a rodeo. 3rd and 8. The out, opposite side of the field. It's caught in a first down. Burleson has been big today, John.
Yeah, he has been. The St. Louis Rams show the pressure, but then they drop out and only bring 4. Well, Matt Hasselbeck, if you don't get pressure on him, as we've said throughout the day, he's going to make you pay. He's a deadly accurate quarterback. He's got great weapons outside. Burleson, nice job of using his hands. Big conversion for Seattle.
Working on Butler. Burleson, only 3 catches, but for 30 yards, and all of them have been for first downs. Seahawks in the red zone. Middle of the field, intended for Houshmandzadeh, not there. James Butler got an early read on that one.
But I tell you, Ron, you know what I like from the Seahawks right now? They're mixing the run, but the tempo. Matt Hasselbeck is a quarterback that thrives on tempo. He wants Greg Knapp, get that play in, let's move. They're going to some of the 4 wide looks that you remember the Seattle Seahawks and Matt Hasselbeck having so much success back in the Mike Holmgren era. These are things that Matt Hasselbeck is comfortable with, and Greg Knapp is giving it to him in this series.
Movement left side, Locklear.
False start, offense, number 75, 5-yard penalty, second down.
Watch the left tackle, Sean Locklear. It's not the noise of the 12th man out in Seattle, but St. Louis's version of their 12th man.
You heard and saw Hasselbeck trying to change the play, communicate it. Let's listen in again. Quick slant. He gets Houshmandzadeh on this one. And Houshmandzadeh is down to the 11-yard line. Butler on the tackle.
Again, playing to Matthew Hasselbeck's strengths. You start to spread the field. He's got TJ Houshmandzadeh on the safety, OJ Atagwe. Advantage Seattle, and Matt Hasselbeck is, you're starting to see the tempo come alive.
3rd down and 5. Houshmandzadeh along with Burleson up top. Branch alone at the bottom of your screen. Going up top to Houshmandzadeh, he'll have to make a great catch, and it's just out of reach. A nice rub play. Outside receiver picked inside, and they tried to get Houshmandzadeh up the sideline.
Watch Houshmandzadeh coming with a little rub route. Nate Burleson going to come in here, try to create traffic. Matt Hasselbeck throws it just a little far. Again, you have the matchup. TJ Houshmandzadeh on the safety, James Butler. Just a little misfire by Matthew Hasselbeck.
So the long drive now stalling. This will be 29 yards out for Mare. It's through, it's clean, no flags. 11-play drive, 59 yards. And it's topped off by the 29-yard field goal by Mare. And you mentioned on that drive, John Lynch, the tempo, the rhythm, back in the offensive mix for the Seahawks.
And right now, you talk about tempo, rhythm. These St. Louis Rams need to counter with some rhythm of their own. Kyle Bowler, a big mistake down there on the interception, had Danny Amendola for a touchdown. He's got to be able to bounce back. You want your opportunity, make good upon it.
Well, he better bounce back after taking it out of the end zone 8 yards deep.
You talk about quarterbacks playing at a high level. Those two, Brett Favre and Kurt Warner, playing as well as anyone in the league right now.
The Rams going back to their bread and butter. That's Jackson. And Jackson with a nice carry on 1st down. And the AFC playoff picture looks like this, even though currently the Indianapolis Colts are down by 6 to the Houston Texans. They've still got a comfortable lead in the overall picture. And you see the Broncos, well, they came back to life, woke up out of that dream, so to speak, 7-4, but still a good record.
Yeah, it helps when you win 6 straight to start the year.
You think? Gatto checks in for Jackson. They'll go play action pressure. Looks like a hold. I see a flag thrown. Gatto makes the reception. He'll be about 2 yards shy of the first, but I think they're going to get a hold on Alex Barron.
Holding, offense, number 70, 10-yard penalty, 2nd down.
And they do on Nick Reed.
Yeah, well, you think they're going to get a hold on Alex Barron. You know, there's holds that are somewhat, Alex Barron right there, somewhat questionable, but this is just, Alex Barron gets beat by Nick Reed, and then he grabs and tackles, essentially, Nick Reed, and that's an easy one for Scott Green to call.
The 6th hold of the season for Alex Barron. That's the most by anyone in the NFL.
We're starting to see the attrition of this St. Louis offensive line. They're playing out without 3 starters, Jason Smith, Richie Incognito, and now Jason Brown. And the pressure from Seattle is starting to take its toll on these St. Louis Rams.
2nd and 14 throw, a spin move, and another nice move by Jackson. Somehow he got away from that. Made it respectable. Let's go down to Nichelle Turner.
Hey guys, just a little more information on Jason Brown. I just found out that his x-rays came back negative, but he probably will not be back for this game. He does have a knee sprain. Back to you.
John, you talked about the attrition, and the guys in the pregame show did a really nice job of covering the whole concussion issue that's really circulated around the NFL this past week. Alone, two quarterbacks, named quarterbacks, Kurt Warner and Roethlisberger, who didn't play today, suffered concussions last week. But this is a problem that the league has been trying to address and will have to address as they happen more frequently. And there's a sack and a huge loss of yardage. Leroy Hill is there first, along with a few other Seahawks.
And you see, as we talked about, they're banged up front, the St. Louis Rams. This is the previous play. Darryl Tapp putting a hit on Kyle Bowler. And now on the third down, the Seattle Seahawks bring the blitz on the outside. Leroy Hill just beats Daniel Fells. Darryl Tapp there to clean it up. Kyle Bowler starting to get beat up.
Jones punting away. A marker goes down. That one hits at the 50 and rolls. Burleson picks it up, makes something out of a bad kick, and gets it just on the other side of the 50. A good roll there, 48 yards officially on the punt, 10 yards on the return, but let's check the flag. Scott Green talking it over with the crew. He'll come out with a call.
Ineligible downfield on the kick early. Number 58. Penalty will be added to the end of the run. First down. Timeout.
The Rams with only two quarterbacks active today. Keith Null, the rookie, is the other one. There's a shot, quick throw, and Burleson again continues to impress today.
Talk about Kyle Bowler being under pressure, sacked 4 times, but the biggest number in this league, coaches, defensive coaches will tell you all the time, how many pressures have you got on them? Quarterbacks feel pressure. Gus Bradley and his unit doing a wonderful job today putting the heat on them, and that's why this drive is so important for this St. Louis defense. Your offense is starting to struggle. You gotta somehow make a stop, either a turnover or a stop right here. Keep the points off the board.
Pump and go, looking for Hoosh. It's not there. And a nice job there by the corner. Bartell, John, he did what we call that fake jam. Start up and press, then ran back.
See TJ Houshmandzadeh with a little stutter go, and Ron Bartell says, sorry, TJ, I'm not going for that. And nice decision by Matt Hasselbeck, just throwing it out of bounds. Sometimes the best decision is to live to see the next play, and Matt Hasselbeck, a pro, did it right there. Look at that. Scoring drives, they run the football. The other 6 drives with no passes, they don't.
Plenty of time for Hasselbeck. Finds a man, and it's incomplete. Looking for Carlson, but they can't hold on.
John Carlson, their leading receiver last year. See him right here. He's going to run a little hook route. You get those one-on-ones, you've got to like your chances with John Carlson.
Nice job there, John, by Butler. He didn't kill grass. Did it. He went to the next available receiver. 3rd and 10. He's got Branch. And Branch goes down at about the 18-yard line, maybe the 17.
It appears as if he's just a little bit short here.
Jim Mora holding up 4.
But St. Louis brings the pressure. Matthew Hasselbeck does a very nice job of stepping up in the pocket, buying time, extending the play, and finding Deion Branch, who eventually beats Justin King across the middle.
So the timeout for the measurement. There you see it. A couple inches short. Well, Jim Mora held up 4 fingers. I don't know if that meant we're going for it here.
You know, listen, you can sit up here and second guess. It appears as if he's keeping his offense. I'm not so sure. You don't want to just make it a two-score game. Your defense is really starting to exert their will on Kyle Bowler.
Exactly.
But the wild card here is they're 3-7. They aren't playing for the playoffs. So Jim Mora just maybe trying to create some confidence and feeling and momentum for his football team. But not so fast. It appears as if they're calling a timeout now. Nope. Here they go.
So 4th in inches. I think this is a ploy here. And the 4th quarter is over. Seattle is 5 of 8 on the season on 4th down. The give to Forsett, he's got it. Then some. Forsett almost broke it. And he's pumped. Quincy Butler saves the touchdown.
A nice job by Justin Forsett in this offensive line, getting a little surge. Watch the right guard, Max Unger, tight end John Owens, Owen Schmidt, the fullback creating a nice hole. And Justin Forsett, you know, one of the things I'm saying going into that play is they really don't have that hammer at the halfback, but Justin Forsett, nice job converting the 4th down.
Seahawks on the ball, snapping it quick. Forsett again, down to the 2. 5 yards on the pickup.
You know, and I asked Jimmy Moore, I said, listen, I understand he may not have the breakaway speed as you see the red zone, 3 possessions, 1 touchdown, 1 field goal, but I don't know, Jim, every time I watch the film, you hand it to this guy, something good happens. He only had 45 carries coming in, but I bet you after today, he becomes their lead back, whether Julius Jones is healthy or not.
2nd and goal. They believe it. That's why they believe it. He walks in, touchdown, Seahawks. His 2nd touchdown of the day.
And the key block, watch Rob Sims, the left guard, kind of hook Darryl Scott. Darryl Scott's gap right there is right outside Rob Sims. Rob Sims says and turns him in and opens up a big hole that, frankly, Ron Pitts, you or I could have run through.
So the Seahawks starting to put it together. A look at the scoring drive there. 2 touchdowns on the day for Forsett. And then you talk about after being down 14-10 at the half, they come out and just turn into another team offensively. 2 unanswered scores for Seattle. That's Amendola. Rams head coach Steve Spagnuolo trying to figure out what does he have to do to get a 2nd win of the season.
Yeah, and he's been very steadfast in sticking with his philosophies. He knows all 3 systems, offense, defense, special teams, work. At New York, it worked on defense. Philly, it worked on offense. He's very impressive job of coaching with a team that just lacks talent all across the board right now.
And that guy there has really been the only bright spot. They give the ball to Jackson, the only bright spot on offensive, from an offensive standpoint. But you talk about what's happened in this game. I think things changed with the Josh Wilson interception for a touchdown. Going in, a chance to score for the Rams. Not only do they not score, it flips around completely. They give the score to the Seahawks.
Well, and then you got an already banged up offensive line, and you lose a couple more guys, most specifically Jason Brown today. You know, Billy Devaney had a philosophy to build strength up the middle. You see Kyle Bowler completed to Steven Jackson, and that's exactly what he got when he got Jason Brown. But he goes out, you're already missing Incognito and Jason Smith to a concussion, and that's the result. When you're missing all those offensive line, a position you've shored up, guys like Patrick Kearney feast off that. If you show a weakness, they're going to go after it. Seattle's been able to do that, especially since Jason Brown went out.
Mark Bolger probably had 1 MRI too many Monday. Had an MRI for the hamstring, the groin, the lower leg. At first they thought maybe a concussion. More pressure and enforces the errant throw to Brandon Gibson. Jordan Babineau coming in on the blitz.
And watch this right here. You're going to see Deion Grant go out. Jonathan Babineau come up. You show him one thing, you take it away, you bring it from the other side. Gus Bradley dialing up some great blitzes and pressures here today. Jordan Babineau, excuse me, and the Seattle defense doing a great job of executing those pressures.
That defense has been big right before half. They've got 2 big plays. The interception for the touch and then the interception in the end zone by Babineau. Burleson, he got a block. Burleson is on the move. Jones makes him cut back and maybe save the touchdown, if not the long run. Richie Incognito there on the right, along with Jason Smith, the #1 pick, #2 overall out of Baylor. Both those guys inactive today for the Rams offensive line, and they have missed them. Just ask Kyle Bowler. They keep it on the ground to Forsett. A pickup of 4. Let's go down to Nichelle Turner.
Yeah, guys, adding to that concussion discussion you were having earlier today, I talked to Jason Smith earlier, and he told me that he has not yet passed his baseline test. He had another one yesterday. He didn't pass that. He's got another one scheduled for Monday. He said the problem he's having right now, his vision and multitasking. It's been a pretty tough road for him getting back on the field.
Absolutely, Nichelle. Thank you very much. And that topic, as I said earlier, has been a hot topic this week. And there goes a guy who's been hot all day. Forsett looking for the end zone. And John, I think you're right. If it was close as to whether or not your starter was Jones or Forsett, let's just say Forsett is taking huge strides in putting his name in the hat as a starter. 26 big ones.
And you watch, you're going to get kind of a double lead block from John Owens and Justin Griffith. And Justin Forsett, one thing he will do is see the hole. He's got incredible jump cut ability. And then they talk about his speed. He doesn't have the speed. Well, all I know is right there, he's running away from everyone. Sometimes we look too much into the measurables. Can a guy play or can he not play football? And Justin Forsett, in my mind, is a football player.
Over the 100-yard mark, 110 yards on 17 carries. That's Rankin. Rankin went backwards, tackled by Hall.
Greg Knapp always has been able to run the football. Maybe they found their back and the key to their running game here in Seattle.
There's a throw and a catch by Griffith. And you look at Jones there. Jones still bothered by the bruised lung. Got the bruised lung, blocking Carlos Dansby in the Arizona game a couple weeks ago. He jokingly to the Seattle press, he said, I gave up my lung for Matt Hasselbeck. What's he going to do for me?
You know, and listen, I think Julius Jones, heck of a football player. I think he's not a fit for the zone blocking scheme. I think he's more of a fit for a power running back type scheme where you get behind pullers and go downfield.
The tight end screen throwback style to Carlson. And Leonard Little is there. Carlson with no catches last week against Minnesota. And Leonard Little, a guy at 34 years old, the oldest Ram, playing like he's one of the youngest. One of the bright spots, few bright spots on this 1-9 team. So that'll bring on Alinda Mare again. He's hit from 29 yards out, 15 consecutive for him. Going for 16. This will be 38 yards out. Block. No. No, it's good. So Mare gets it through. What'd you say, John? I thought we were having a moment here. I heard the block. It was touched coming out. It made it through, but yeah, for a second, man, I was thinking, wait a minute, am I looking at the right ball here?
Yeah, we went under the hood, and I think it was tipped. We have visual evidence.
Yeah. But nonetheless, it's tipped but goes through. And Mare just pounding the ball, that one, to Kansas City. Let's go back to the field goal by Mare and listen. Bottom line, it goes through, adds to the Seahawk lead, 27-10, 9:24 to play here in St. Louis. Rams ball. The screen to Jackson. Jackson cutting it back. And a nice low tackle there by Babineau.
Jordan Babineau having a fine game, really. You know, making open field tackles on Steven Jackson, and when you do that, you're doing something special, making interceptions, blitzing the quarterback. Jordan Babineau really showing up for Seattle's defense today.
2nd and 5. And Jackson dragging Hawthorne. A pickup of 4. And that's what good teams do. They come back find a way to win the game, and that's a first down for the Rams. Jackson. And I guess the flip side of that, John, is bad teams find a way to lose games.
Yeah, they do. And St. Louis right now, you know, has found a number of ways to lose games. You know, I've lauded Steve Spagnuolo for the job he's done, and it's because he has tough circumstances. Not enough talent here yet, but I think they're building something. But it's hard when you don't have enough talent to start, and then you get injured on top of it.
A late marker goes down pass intended for Brandon Gibson.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, number 97 defense, 15-yard penalty, first down.
That's Kearney.
Patrick Kearney, the fine pass rusher. Here he is right here working on Adam Goldberg. Yeah, I don't know.
You can't ask a defensive guy to comment on a play like that, can you, John?
Oh. Good thing about Patrick Kearney, he's got enough money if they decide to tag him.
The long out route. Amendola shakes one man and gets it past the 45-yard line.
And Danny Amendola and Josh Wilson have been jawing the last couple plays, and Amendola giving it to Josh Wilson right there after he made him miss the tackle. Danny Amendola is still competing. These Rams have done that all year. One thing you have to admire, they never quit under Steve Spagnuolo.
They mark it just outside of the Seahawks 45-yard line. Long throw and a good catch by Gibson. They mark Gibson down. I know it looked like maybe his elbow or hand was down. If the knee hit, he's down, but if it's just an elbow.
Watch Brandon Gibson, Babineau on him, and then Marcus Trufant. I'm not so
I don't
sure.
know that I don't know that I saw the knee go down. Jackson going out of bounds. You know, he still doesn't have that burst, but yet he's running away from defenders. Let's go back to that last reception by Gibson.
Let's watch the knee to see if there's any evidence. The hand does not mark you down.
Oof, no, he's not down there. He just got, he got about 6 yards taken away from him. 2nd and 2. Out of the backfield, Darby. And Darby works inside the 25-yard line.
You know, if you're Kyle Bowler, he really started off hot today. I thought was looking great, standing tall in the pocket under the heat that was coming. The one play that I bet he wishes he had back was the corner route to Danny Amendola that Babineau picked off. That's the one he really missed on.
Amendola, the same area of the field where he had the circus catch last week against Arizona. He can't hold on this one.
Now, you got to catch that one, and Danny Amendola will be the first to tell you. What I like about him, though, he continues to get open in the slot, and that's an art. Josh Wilson, a very good nickel back. The one thing I've been impressed with the Seattle defensive backs, all day long they've been finishing plays. As a defensive back, you have to finish, and they've done a great job of competing right to the very end today.
Don't take anything away from Josh Wilson. He got his hands up there, did a nice job. Safety pressure, they bring the blitz. They throw outside, that's Amendola. And Amendola will be about 2 yards shy of the first. Wilson is there. Rams looking at a 3rd and 3. Slant. Incomplete. Intended for Gibson. Trufant on the coverage.
You watch Brandon Gibson up top. He drives the one-on-one coverage. Kyle Bowler just a little bit off target. And again, Marcus Trufant, who they're hopeful is starting to come back, stays after the play and doesn't allow Brandon Gibson to catch his deflection.
So the Rams looking at a 4th and 3. Going to the corner, going up top, and it's incomplete. Intended for Fells, the tight end, and that will be a turnover on downs.
And Seattle defense playing at a high level today.
And a fumbled snap there. Hasselbeck gets back on it quickly. And a look at Bowler under pressure today. Those hits pay dividends later on.
You never can underestimate the effect that pressure has on quarterbacks in these leagues. sometimes they'll have success early, but if you hit them and you keep hitting them, all of a sudden the accuracy starts to diminish a little bit. The interceptions start to come, and Gus Bradley doing a wonderful job. This guy's a hot, up-and-coming defensive coordinator. Monty Kiffin, my old defensive coordinator, thinks the world of him, and Jim Moore, if he continues to coach like this, will as well.
Seahawks will try to run it out now, put it on the ground with Forsett. Laurinaitis on the tackle. And as we said in our open, the Seahawks went from a divisional contender, a team that a lot of people thought that were going to be able to stand up and punch Arizona in the mouth, to after this 3-game road trip here, they were just looking for a win.
Yeah, you know, and what struck me about Jim Moore, the one thing he told us week 1 is this time around as a head coach, he's going to be less reactionary and more measured. And last night I saw a measured head coach. You see Forsett go for, again, continue to break tackles, get a big first down. But I saw a head coach who wasn't panicking and said, you know what, we're going to build this thing the right way. And, you know, today, yes, it's the St. Louis Rams and they're struggling, but this is the type of football. They're looking for an identity at the end of this season under Jim Moore as a head coach with all the new players. And today, I think they've created one, a team that's going to be tough, hit you in the mouth, and the pass rush is showing up defensively, which I don't care what system you're playing. If you want to be a good defense, pressure the quarterback. They've been able to do that today.
And Forsett with a career high, 19 carries, 125 yards. And you know, the big thing about that, as he carries again here, the yard per carry average, he gets a lot without a lot of carries. Against Arizona, the loss there, a close game early, and actually Seattle got off to a big lead. He was over 7 yards a carry.
Yeah, you know, and sometimes I think
Number 77 reporting eligible. Number 77.
You know, we come in and we watch them on film and we say, why aren't they giving it to? Sometimes you become so familiar with your own players, you almost need an outside perspective or something like this to happen to understand how valuable they are. They saw Justin Forsett as just a 3rd down back, not fast enough, big enough to be an every down back. I think he can be at least a complimentary back in this type of scheme.
The pitch, 2nd down and 6, Forsett. He tripped there, but I believe he wanted to also keep that ball inbounds, keep the clock going.
Timeout.
And a look at the NFC West. Seattle at this point, with a win here today, would go to 4-7, hoping to keep pace there with the San Francisco 49ers.
But Arizona really starting to take control of the division. Arizona playing another hot team in Tennessee later here today. And again, you know, we've talked about the imbalance coming into the game for the Seattle offense. Well, we've seen Arizona under Ken Wisenhunt start to play a little bit of that background to Ken Wisenhunt, that Steeler football, and run the football effectively. What's that done? It's made Kurt Warner all the more efficient in the passing game.
The Rams call a timeout. Just so everyone knows, especially back in Seattle, the Seahawks are not mathematically out of the playoff hunt just yet. They still have a chance, but like we said, one thing they got to do is keep pace with San Francisco and then look over their shoulder to see where Arizona is at. But it all starts with wins. The toss on 3rd and 6. Forsett again keeping it inbounds. And another timeout called by the Rams.
Timeout.
They'll have one left. That ball will sail in to the end zone for a touchback. And time permitting, we will get you to the Eagles-Redskins game. And a look back, the quick game summary. Started out relatively close. Game changed right before the half. The big INT for the touchdown, 65 yards, Josh Wilson. And another big play by the Seahawks defense in the end zone. Jordan Babineau went up, stole it. 2 big miscues in the red area, approaching the red area for the Rams.
That's right. Defensively, the Seahawks have taken over this game, and it was the big interception return from Josh Wilson and the interception by Jordan Babineau in the end zone that prevented a St. Louis touchdown.
There's a quick one to Avery.
Pat Shurmur continues to learn his players here and become more familiar with them. Those are the type of things that Donnie Avery does well. Get him the ball behind the line of scrimmage, let him use his quickness and his speed. Every time they do that, it yields good results.
That ball intended for Avery, and it's knocked away by Kelly Jennings. And the Seahawks with a chance to get their first road win of the year. They were winless on the road this year, 0-5. But I guess the good news for them is that the Rams hadn't won a game at home this season.
Depends which way you look at it, I guess.
Bowler, the heater across the middle, complete. That's Fells, the tight end. He missed him earlier down by the goal line in the end zone. This time he picks him up.
And don't give up on Kyle Bowler too early. Again, he's got a banged up offensive line in front of him, but this guy has a very, very strong arm. He's got mobility, he brings energy.
Again, we will be sending you to that game at the conclusion of this one, time permitting. They throw inside to Avery. Avery with a nice pickup. He's inside the 20-yard line.
You know, again, it's late and people might say it's garbage time, but Kyle Bowler doing some things today that very much impressed you. He's been under duress all day, but yet he still hangs in there, standing tough in the pocket. He's always had a strong arm and really utilizing that well today.
The pressure, he steps up looking for a man. He'll do it himself. He'll get the first down and maybe the touchdown. Yes, touchdown Rams.
You know what? Hats off to him. He's been getting beat up all day long, but he's still out there competing and using that mobility. They're going to bring the pressure, sidestep it. There's one plus to bringing pressure. If you get behind it, you got a lot of room to run, and Kyle Bowler uses his athletic ability and competitiveness to get in that end zone.
So Bowler with the 17-yard touchdown. He's taken a lot of hits today. He lost his starting center. The pressure increased.
We will review the previous play.
The booth will review this play. Remember, we are under 2 minutes. So this doesn't come from the sideline. It comes from upstairs in the booth. And here's Scott Green with a decision.
After reviewing the play, the runner's knee was down. He was at the 1-yard line. The ball will be placed at the 1-yard line. First down.
All right, so ball spotted at the 1. It's where the ball is when the knee touches the ground.
That's right. You see the knee down right there and the ball right there, not in. Good call by Scott Green. The fans don't like it, but the correct call.
So ball at the 1. Jackson along with Badgerman in the backfield. The boot throws it. Almost caught. Almost a sack and almost caught by the tight end, Daniel Fells. Pressure by Lawrence Jackson.
Lawrence Jackson is a guy who came out hot. 4 sacks after the first 3 games. Since then, it's been quiet. But you're starting to see a lot of guys emerge here, putting the pressure on. And that's what I saw coming in, that they were going to have a number of guys that could bring pressure. It hasn't paid dividends as of yet, but today maybe they got it going.
Jackson tried to put his head down and go, couldn't get in. Hill was there first.
It seems like when you're 1-9, you can't catch a break. Kyle Bowler apparently goes in for the touchdown. Not so fast, Scott Green says, and makes the correct call. But now your offensive line is banged up. It's tough to get push in this league, but you're undermanned. It's really tough to get any push.
3rd and goal. Jackson again. Jackson hit. No sign yet. Yes, touchdown Rams. His initial charge stop tosses that one into the stands, and the Rams have 6.
And sometimes we talked about them being undermanned. When you have Steven Jackson, you don't need push because he's going to provide it on his own. He gets thumped early and stood up, but you know, again, I've talked over and over this year how much respect. This guy back spasms all week, but continues to compete. Now 89 yards. This guy is a true warrior. So
Brown on for the extra point, and it's good. And that makes it a 27-17 10-point game.
Watch the lead block by Billy Badgema on Leroy Hill. And then Steven Jackson one-on-one in the hole. One-on-two, actually. And he's going to win that matchup the majority of the time. Jacob Bell with the good kick out. Badgema with his block, and then leave the rest to Steven Jackson. And instead of his patented roll the dice, paying homage to his Las Vegas roots, Steven Jackson shows us another thing. He's got quite an arm throwing the ball up in the stadium.
Jackson, 23 rushes, 89 yards. And a 10-point game. And an onside look here. And it is a high chopper and the perfect roll, and the perfect man back to receive the roll is Burleson. And that'll be Seattle's ball at about the 40-yard line. Now look at the upcoming games for Seattle.
We talked about they're going neck and neck with San Francisco. Houston takes a tough loss. Tampa Bay 1-9 on the year, but beating Atlanta today. Green Bay and Tennessee, a little bit easier road than they've had thus far this season. And Seattle may be poised to make a little bit of a run here late in the year.
Now look at the remaining games for the Rams.
A lot of similar teams there.
On the road there. They're going to pack the bag, huh? And that'll do it here in St. Louis. The final, the Seattle Seahawks 27, the St. Louis Rams 17.